about anything, please run me down and I'll be glad to help. I have the honor of sharing with you some of the events happening here at CNT tonight. As always, lots going on, so check the newsletter, Facebook, and Temple for detailed information. Just a reminder, please place your cell phones on silent so as not to disturb our worship service. The next few Shabbats are jam-packed with lots of special treats. You don't want to miss it. On August 16th, Sisterhood is hosting their Shabbat of Love, celebrating Tu B'Shav. Join us for a creative, fun service all about love. Following that, we have the Beatles Shabbat on August 23rd. This is a super fun, super musical Shabbat. The music is awesome. There's a special oneg, and who wants to miss on seeing Rabbi and Cantor's costumes?
Barney, hold on one sec.
Okay.
Shh. You guys, if you don't listen, I'm going to read the announcements also. So I'm testing you. Please give Barney a little respect. Go ahead. Keep going.
All right. We're back to Beatles Shabbat. What other temple has services led by Sergeant Pepper? We'll see you at 7 p.m. Again, that's August 23rd. Just prior to Beatles Shabbat, Sisterhood is having the Dai Challah Flower Power on the 22nd. Call the front desk or RSVP for this groovy challah bake. August 15th at 7:15, come watch the final movie in this summer's Cinema Connections series. We will be airing The Social Network, starring Jess Eisenberg, Andrew Garfield, and Justin Timberlake. And for a tasty treat, there will be light refreshments sponsored by Raquel's Kitchen on Warm Springs. Starting September 4th, Ayelet will be teaching the CNT conversion class. If you're interested in Judaism, please contact Rachel in the rabbi's office to find out more about the process. Also starting September 4th, we have 2 fabulous adult ed classes taught by Pam Poster. She's very, very good at this. And I really recommend you stopping in to take her class. Hebrew 1 is a semester-long intro course that will teach you the first half of the alphabet and basic vocabulary. She's also teaching And Then What Happened, Part 4. This semester-long course will focus on Jewish history after the Babylonian exile and addresses the origin of Judaism as we know it. Please contact the temple office for more information and to sign up. Another opportunity for movie fun is September 7th at 7 p.m. with the Interfaith Committee. They'll be watching Keeping the Faith with Ben Stiller and Ed Norton. All CNT families are welcome, but we do ask that children under 12 stay home. If you're interested in any of these upcoming events we just mentioned, please check out our new Connection Court located in the alcove by the front doors as you leave. They'll have flyers to the CNT's upcoming events. And finally, I want to ask Benjamin Barakat to come forward. Benjamin, your turn. His bar mitzvah is September 14th, and he wants to talk about his special project.
Good evening, my fellow congregants. My name is Benjamin Barakat. For my bar mitzvah project, I have been volunteering my time, along with my brother, on a weekly basis to the 3 Square Food Bank in Henderson. I've been helping to prepare the food pantry for low-income and homeless people who go to the location to get grocery items. I would like to bring awareness about all the people in need within our community. Everybody can help, whether it is donating time or contributing directly through the website at www.3square.org. You can also help by donating eco-friendly shopping bags for them to shop in the food pantry. There will be a box outside of the sanctuary for you to drop them in. Thank you and Shabbat Shalom.
Thanks, Benjamin. Shabbat Shalom.
Nikadma fanav betoda. Naria, Naria, Litzor Yishenu, Bizmirot Naria lo. Lechu neranena, Lechu neranena, Lechu neranena, Ladonai. Lechu neranena, Lechu neranena, Lechu neranena, Ladonai. We call to the Bema Frank and Linda Echenrod and Colleen Craig in honor of Frank becoming a Jew this week.
Well, good Shabbos, everyone. You know, Jacky Rosen was our president for nearly 3 years. If I knew that just having her come every Friday night was going to be, you know, a service bump, I would have taken advantage of that several years ago. So, again, a warm welcome back home. If you need a welcome to be home, we're glad that you're here with Larry, and it's just a pleasure. So we look forward to our compelling conversation, which we will have traditionally at the very end of services after Kaddish. We'll have our program and then go into the Oneg. But let's just take a moment. Look to your right, left, behind. Wish everyone good Shabbos. Introduce yourselves if there's some new people, some new faces. We welcome the Sabbath bride on page 138, L'chado D.
So every melody that we're doing tonight has been by special request. People wanted to bring back some of the old school, so I expect to hear you singing along. Shabbat, P'nei Shabbat nekabe, Yalala l'chadodi, Yalala l'krat kala, Yalala P'nei Shabbat, P'nei Shabbat nekabe la. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, Ushmo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'litila. Shabbat, P'nei Shabbat. Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor haveracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maseh b'machshava tchila. We rise to greet the Shabbat bride, verse 9. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha, uv'tzola, toch emunei, am segula, boi chala, boi chala, yai lai lai, yalla la la lecha dodi, yalla la la likrat kala, yalla la la penei Shabbat, nekave, yalla la lecha dodi, yalla la likrat kala, yalla la penei Shabbat, nekave, la. We remain standing for the Baruch Hu on page 146.
Page 149, we read together. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
Baruch atah Adonai hamariv aravim.
As you
Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha avta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta al kein Adonai chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei omam v'layla, ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei omam v'layla, ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei omam v'layla, ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei omam v'layla, ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim, baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malechuto Leolam Vaed. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated. ובכל מאודיך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך ושרתם להיות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך ופתחתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי כשם תרשים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue in 157. Responsively, in a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
High heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
מי כמוך help us with Shamru, page 162.
Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor bend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. And so we pray as if everything depended on God, but we act as if everything depended on you. Let us rise for the tefillah, 164, 166.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Eloheinu v'Eloheinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Ha'gibor Ha'nara Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Honei Hakol V'Toher Haseyah V'Maot U'Megi Geula Livnei B'neihem L'man Shemo Ve'ava Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Tov Sarah Atah Gibor
bechol yom yahalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. We continue in silent devotion through page 180, using the words on the right or the left side of the page or the words within your heart. When you have completed your prayers, please be seated.
The Mishaberach is a prayer that feels more needed at some moments in our lives than others. We think of and take our health for granted, that of our loved ones. In the times that they are sick, we reach out for help. And the Mishaberach helps us channel those feelings. And this week, especially in which our nation has gone through its own sense of national trauma, we pray for a national sense of healing as well, as we deal with violence and how it impacts our lives, our sense of concern for welfare of those that we love. We think also of those who are caregivers who give of themselves, and we ask that they be emboldened with courage and strength and patience as they express their love through the mystery of caring. For those who face afflictions of addiction of the heart and mind, we ask that they are emboldened with strength and healing as well. And so if you'd like to say the name of a loved one who is special to you to include in our Mishaberach, please stand and say their names, as many names as you would like. And now we as a community, we stand in solidarity one with the other, arm in arm, as we join together in our Mishaberach prayer.
May the source of strength, who bless
Well, we all know why you came tonight. It's because of the root beer floats, because it is also birthday Shabbat. So those of you who are celebrating a birthday in the month of August, don't be bashful. Come on up. Come on up. We're getting you a root beer float. Not yet with the curtain. Not yet with the curtain. All right, go ahead. Make your way over here. Have to do a little shtick. All right. I guess August is a popular birthday month. All right. I'm going to ask you the date of your birthday, not the year, just the day. Okay, here we go.
August 23rd.
August 23rd. All right.
August 29th.
29th. Oh, that's a good day. What do you think about that? That's our anniversary. All right. That's right. But there you go.
August 8th.
August 8th. Okay, make your way over there. All right. What's yours, sweetie?
August 8th.
August 8th. Go over. Are you guys twins? No. All right.
August 31st.
31st. All right, Sam.
August 11th.
11th. You squeeze right in there next to the 8th. Okay.
Number 2, August 2nd.
August 2nd. Go to the head of the line there. All right.
August 15th.
All right. August 15th is coming up, which is also the anniversary of my bar mitzvah. You know that. That's right. So we got a lot in common between Jolie's birthday and my bar mitzvah. All right, so you got to sneak over to the 15th. There you go.
August 3rd.
August 3rd, all right.
August 18th.
18th.
August 20th.
August 20th. Go get over there.
And I guess I got the middle, August 19th.
August 19th. There you go. Well, those of you who have been here for Birthday Shabbat know that I love to do a lot for this, but it's a little compacted, so we're just going to go right to it. I want you to share with me one piece of advice that you have learned in your life, all right, for this congregation, all right? Here we go. You can pass if you want to pass.
To show up and be present, and you never know who you might have an effect on.
I'll never give up. Never stop despite rejection.
Enjoy every day.
Make sure you go home and kiss your family. Don't let the bad things make you sad.
Be active and make many friends and love everyone.
Make sure all of your electronics are safely off your person before jumping into the pool.
I'm too old.
I agree with all of them, and all of us here have to say we need to listen to our rabbi. So there you go. I'll save the rest of my comments for later.
So we ask the congregation to please rise. Whether you said it or not, I know within each one of you have had life lessons. But the celebration of a birthday, I hope for each one of you, is an important life lesson. That you matter. That there are people whose lives you have impacted, have touched, and that by the mere fact that you are here, have enhanced their sense of love and meaning in their own personal lives. For each of you, a birthday is a chance to reflect upon the years that have been, but it's also a time to look upon the years that God will grant you. So, Rabbonu Shalom, Master of the Universe, may you bless each of these who come before you tonight with the sense and knowledge that they are blessed for who they are, and that the years that lie ahead be kind with them, and to them, and for them, and with them. And that the love that they feel will be multiplied, because in the years that lie ahead, they will seize moments of opportunity yet to unfold, friendships yet to be revealed, and a sense of life's purpose that changes with each and every passing day if their hearts and their minds are open. So God bless them all with good health, with happiness, and with joy as we say these words of blessings from our tradition. May Lord God bless you and keep you. May the Lord God cause light of his countenance to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord God grant you long life, happiness, and peace always. Amen. Mazal Tov.
Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov. Yehelanu, 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 Ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael.
We remain standing for the adoration on page 586.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umordim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
Please be seated. Our Kaddish prayer is found on page 598. And so we recall those who have died in recent days. Paul Kesson, Judith Etkin, Judith Fisher, Nathan Bobrow, and Izzy Dick. And we think of the Yortsites of Anna Abramson, Israel Begon, Ann Bennett, Eileen Bernay, Ann Chenin, Leroy Cherry, Andrea Lee Cohen, Max Meyer Cohen, Oded Dagan, Gertrude DeStefano, Louis Edlovich, Harry Eisner, Barbara Fadum, Sina Leah Fishbein, Albert Goldstein, Ida Goldstein, Pauline Gorlick, Florin Gorov, Harry Gratz, Lauren Green, William Hellman, David Hirsch, Jack Hooker, Eugene Kirschbaum, Albert Lenoble, Matt Lepp, Lucille Levinson, Harry Levine, Edith Margone, Tilly Orentichlerman, Elaine Perlman, Harry Perlman, Ann Rabin, Hyman Rosenthal, Maureen Sablé, Larry Sassner, Esther Sherman, Rosa Sokolovsky, Samuel Stahl, Francis Steinberg, Israel Stessel, Abe Tarnowski. If you would like to say the name of someone who is not mentioned for Kaddish or for Yortzeit, please stand and say their name. A colleague wrote a reflection on the shootings about where God is. I want to share this before we rise for Kaddish. One thing have I sought from Adonai, how I long for it, that I may live in the house of Adonai all the days of my life, that I may look upon the sweetness of Adonai and spend time in the palace. The boots scoot, the hats ride high, the beer flows, guitars twang, harmony rings loud. Here in God's country house, the story is always bittersweet. Love, then loss, pain, then healing, doubt, then faith, then doubt again. This is God's house, but is God home? Some say no. Thousands plan to party while one has other plans. 10 minutes of sheer terror, shots, bullets, blood, final breath, fear, horror, the dread of death. This is God's house, but is God home? Some say maybe. He uses his body as a human shield. She grasps a stranger's hand while the life force ceases. They hold each other and move silently toward the exit. This is God's house, but is God home? I say, yes. This house of God where we live, where we gamble with our money, with our values, with our own lives and the lives of others, is not yet perfect, but God is always home. Rescuers, first responders, kind people with holy instincts doing God's work, singing melodies of courage in God's not yet perfect house. We remember. Let us rise. Yit Kadal, V'yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'yalma Divra Chirute, V'yamlich Malchute, B'chayachon, V'yomechon, V'chayed Achol Beit Yisrael, B'agalav Izman Kari, V'yamru Amen. Yeheshmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Omei Maya, Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yit Pa'ar V'yit Ramam V'yit Naseh, Yit Hadar V'yit Taleh V'yit Talal Shmei Dekusha B'richu, Leila Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tush Bechata V'nechemata, Damiram B'yalma V'yamru Amen. Yeheshlam Araba Min Shammai V'chayim, Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yamru Amen. Osei Shalom B'mramav, Hoya Aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yamaru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. May be seated. So while we are setting up the bima, a couple quick things. We will have our compelling conversations in just a moment. Following that, we always have a final song, and then we started a new tradition, which is an old tradition, which is to have a receiving line. So at the conclusion of the final song, the cantor and I and Senator Rosen, we will make a receiving line for those who want to be greeted. You go into the social hall, take a little bit of challah and wine, and just wait. The cantor will be there, and we will say the Kiddush and Motzi together. I know it's a lot of people, but we're going to see how this works, okay? And then enjoy the root beer floats. All right, that is your reward for being patient. All right. I think that's it. Here we go. Senator Rosen, we invite you to come on up.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It feels good to be home. It's a good-looking crowd. You know, I'm just telling you, the best-looking crowd in the whole United States of America is right here tonight.
But wait, there's more.
I just had to say that.
Alex, am I up? Okay. I'm not really hearing it, but okay. Welcome to our series of compelling conversations. And we have a great one today with Senator Rosen and Rabbi Axelrod. I'm Ira D. Sternberg. I'm host of talkaboutlasvegas.com. And we're going to talk about Senator Rosen comes to Washington. Now I can hear it. Thank you, Alex. Jewish values and the Hill, are they compatible? And you probably already know that Senator Rosen represented the 3rd District in the 115th Congress. She served on the Armed Services Committee, and she's the former president, Temple president here. And just a little bit about her Senate career, there's quite a few committees. I don't know if I'm going to read them all, but some of the important ones are
Is she on more Senate committees than she was Temple committees?
Correct.
I just want to know.
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
That's not possible.
Homeland Security, Government Affairs, the Caucus on International Narcotics Control, and a couple of odds and ends as well. So there's a lot there. Rabbi Axelrod, as you know, also serves on committees, just none in Washington, D.C., so that I know.
The commute would be too long.
Yes. So the topic is Jewish values and the Hill, are they compatible? And I thought I would start with Rabbi Axelrod by asking him to give us there's probably hundreds of values in the Jewish religion and culture, but if you can give us 2 or 3, and then Senator Rosen, I would like to have follow up on that in terms of her dealing with those values while she does the practical work of political
Right.
affairs.
We could spend the whole evening just talking about Jewish values that are compatible with being of service to America. There's so much. So I turn right to the classic story when someone asked Rabbi Hillel, explain the meaning of Judaism on one foot, and he says, what is hateful to you, do not do unto others. All the rest is commentary, go study. And in many ways, that's a classic, in a nutshell, refrain. Be good to other people, be kind, be a good neighbor, be part of a community. There's the other classic story of Cain and Abel in the Bible when Cain kills his brother and God says, what happened? And he says, am I my brother's keeper? And of course, the entire Torah is the answer. We are our brother's keeper. We're responsible one for the other. And that is essentially a Jewish value. So whenever we learn about being kind to the strangers, about tikkun olam, about repair of a broken world, about respect and honor and civility in speech, all the things that we could name, they all come back to creating a society in which each person respects the other. And that, I think, are core values of Judaism that we hope define our relationship to our civic leaders.
Senator Rosen, what the rabbi just said was be kind to others, and yet the world of politics is a contact sport. So how do you integrate those two issues?
I can tell you in a lot of ways, everything I do in Washington, I learned everything I need to do to be successful right here at Congregation Ner Tamid. And I say that.
That's a book title right there.
It's a book title. But I will tell you this, and it does have something to do with kindness and civility, but it is the reason that most of you here know, obviously, except for temple politics, not in politics. But when I was approached about running for the 3rd Congressional District and then for this seat, what was explained to me about the value of the work was this, and any of you who know me will know, they know this story, and you know me and you know this to be true. What was said to me is you probably won't change Washington, just like you may not change the world, but the work you do here at home, the stories you listen to, the people that you help, you'll take stories from veterans and seniors and teachers and business leaders, the whole gamut. You'll listen to those stories, and you'll take them with you, and you'll take them to Washington, and that you can turn into legislation, and that I have done. And so you might not see some of the 50 bills that were signed into law last Congress by the president that I was in, good bills for veterans, important things we're doing now that are good work, that are going to change lives for people in some ways. And so those are the things that we have to take with us, and I know that I help people, me and my amazing team here in the state, we make a difference. And I may not change Washington, but oh boy, can I help Nevada, and can I help people. And that's my Jewish values, and that's really what propelled me to run in the first place. And it's what propels and moves me every single day.
But you work with a lot of different personalities in politics and on the Hill, you encounter people who are, if not indifferent, in some cases hostile to either Jewish values or the larger world of anti-Semitism. And yet you, I think, talk about being civil. And how do you deal with those kinds of people that are clearly oriented a certain way, and maybe it's through ignorance, maybe it's through just the way it is in the world, but how do you deal with that and perhaps convert them, if that's the word?
You know, that's a great question. I actually get that question a lot. How do you work with your colleagues? Some you agree with and some you don't. The best way I can probably explain it is this. Well, actually, two ways. So my motto, agree where you can and fight where you must. There's a lot of things to do that we need to get along on, the laundry list of life, maybe work on veterans issues or education or things, fixing the potholes, not necessarily Democratic or Republican issues. A pothole gets you, it's got you, right? But what I like to say is this, that every day is a little bit like Thanksgiving dinner in a very large family. Now, I grew up in Chicago, and so you've got the Cubs and the White Sox, and never the twain fans shall meet or agree, right? So maybe at Thanksgiving, if Uncle A likes one and Uncle B likes the other, you just don't talk baseball. So in that same way, when we're in committee hearings, you see a lot of people saying things in the news out there to the world. But when we're in hearings, when we're in committees, when we're trying to work on things, when we're on the floor having conversations, I have lots of Republican colleagues who I may not agree with on very important issues, but am working with on others. That is kind of how we get through it. And so I started a palliative care caucus with Senator John Barrasso and Senator Fisher, both Republicans, Wyoming and Nebraska. We really care about this. He's a physician. We're going to work together on this. We are probably not in agreement on quite a few other things, and I'm not going to let it get in the way of helping in that area. So that is kind of how we deal with it behind the scenes. What you see on the news is what the news chooses to try to show us, but you see the sound bites of it. But there is a lot more collegiality in person than you would be led to believe if you watch television.
What happens, though, when you run up against a situation where, and I understand exactly what you're saying, you're dealing with a lot of personalities, a lot of different issues that you disagree with with certain politicians, but from a Jewish value perspective, how do you deal with people who are either ignorant or of the Jewish religion, or who are blatantly issuing anti-Semitic statements, or what are perceived as anti-Semitic statements? How do you deal with that up on the Hill?
You know, contrary to what people think, that even though the Senate and the House of Representatives are very close to each other, we actually don't mix and mingle regularly. So there have been those members of the House who I have not met, who have been quite vocal in many of their beliefs, anti-Semitic tropes. I have not met them in person or had those conversations. I've been in the Senate, it's a little bit more cordial. I will say that there has been one senator on the other side who I had a quite lengthy personal, I promised I would never make it public, but I did have a quite lengthy personal discussion with how his rhetoric, what it meant to me, and I don't know if I changed his mind, but after I heard it, I pulled him aside and I said, I'd like to have a chat with you. I'm not going on Twitter. I'm not going on Facebook. This is just me and you. I'm going to tell you what I think, and I want to know why you thought that was okay to say. And I don't know if I changed his mind, but I said mine.
But he knows he has to meet you again at some point. So
he knows he has, yeah. Needless to say, my phone was ringing the next day from his trying to make nice there a little bit.
Rabbi, what do you think in terms of what Senator Rosen has been talking about, that she looks to deal with a myriad of people there, of different personalities, of different philosophies, and she is doing work which will benefit her constituents, and at the same time has to deal with that mix of
Well, I think that is really the American way. And what I mean by that is I'm involved in a lot of interfaith work. So here I'll sit in a group of people. Someone could be Catholic or Protestant or Muslim or Jewish, Baha'i, Wiccan, science of the mind. If we were to look at our views on homosexuality or abortion or a whole host of other things, we're probably going to find a lot of areas where we don't agree. And so we don't tackle those. But then we look at what can we do to solve homelessness? What can we do to bring our community closer together? What is it that we do agree that we know that we are stronger together? And when we adopt that approach, I think you see in the other someone who is a human being that is not dehumanized, but ultimately cares about making the world better. But as soon as you start characterizing them as crazies and villains and hateful people, and I can't touch them because we disagree on all these issues, nothing's going to ever get accomplished. So I may not be, in the Congress or Senate, but it's the same thing when you try to build community, especially in an interfaith sense. So.
Well, Senator Rosen, you work in a bipartisan way, so you have that approach, and I think that makes it more effective than if you take a stance and you, as the rabbi said, you dismiss the other 80% because they don't agree with on everything.
That's right.
So, as you said, the Senate is a much more collegial institution in a way.
It's definitely different than the House,
right,
for sure.
Yeah. And part of it has to do with a 6-year term versus a 2-year term. You have less pressure to
and the depth we have, instead of in the House, you're on 2 committees and 2 subcommittees. In the Senate, I'm on 5 committees, 10 different subcommittees, multiple task force. Just started my palliative care task force, and I'm going to be doing some other caucuses in the, I hope, Jewish and anti-Semitism space soon. I've just been there about 6 months. It takes a while to get going.
Right, it does. I'm going to switch the question because I asked the rabbi about naming 1 or 2 or 3. He picked 1 Jewish value. For you, what do you think is the most important Jewish value or values you bring to the Hill when you're representing Nevada?
I think I think about this a lot because of, I think especially what's in the news with some of the immigration going on right now. And I think that every week when we think that we were slaves and are now free, when we sing our Micha Mocha, when we know that we wandered, maybe because the men didn't ask directions, but that's another story, for 40 years in the desert. But when we know that we haven't had a place and that we're searching for that home and that opportunity in those communities, I am always struck by that in this time. And I sit on Homeland Security, the diciest committee that I sit on out of the 5 that I'm on. And I think about what our history means. And the other thing that I think about, I was very lucky. Kind of a funny thing happened to me in the beginning of our of the session. And so everyone knew I was a temple president, and always a lot of jokes about that, and that's great. But there's a national prayer breakfast. I don't know if any of you know about that. And there's about 4,000 or 5,000 people come every year. It was started by President Eisenhower in the 50s. And one year the Senate puts it on, Democrat and Republican. One year the House. This year was the Senate, Langford and Coons. And they had invited an Orthodox rabbi, James Langford from Oklahoma, to come and give a Jewish, they were talking about slavery around the world, and to give a section of prayer and a little speech. And he couldn't come because of an emergency. Now the president's there, the vice president, you've got to get all this clearance. And so they came to me on the floor. I've been to the Senate all of about 2 weeks, and they said, you have to help us. Rabbi Shmuley from the Chabad in Oklahoma can't come. Here's what he's going to read. You're reading it. I'm like, okay. So they figured that's the closest Jewish person they know. I'm a synagogue president. I must be okay. I said Hebrew or English. They said English. I said, better. Okay, very good. So I look at the piece when I get home, and I actually called Rabbi Pesner, and then I think I called you. And how lucky is this? It is the portion of our high holiday prayers that has the words that we all know, Hineni, in there. It's the part that we say, I am here, our full presence, full body, full mind, full spirit, ready to do the work that I need to do. Now, they give it to me all in English, very nice. They don't know about Hineni, right? This person who's tired, they put it in the teleprompter, but I know about Hineni, and I think, how lucky am I, my second week, to get this and walk up there and say, Hineni, United States Senate, here I am, the third Jewish woman to be in the Senate. Thank you very much. And, yeah. And so I start reading it in English, and I get to that part, and I take my deep breath, and I read whatever, and I go, and I say, Hineni, here I am. I can see everybody out there Googling, what the heck's Hineni? They have no idea. It's not in the, and, but in that moment, I felt very lucky, and I felt very present, and it was very important to me, and I felt that it helped me really feel like I was going to be part and set my tone in the Senate. And I think it's kind of a funny story everybody here could relate to, that I was lucky enough to get that piece, and there you go.
I'm struck by the comfortableness of your Jewishness in the sense that you are a U.S. Senator representing the state of Nevada, and Jews historically have been defensive in different ways due to the nature of societies that they've been in throughout history. But you are comfortable with it, and you approach it as a senator who is Jewish. Do you find that comfortableness helps you on the Hill in dealing with senators and others from other walks of life, other religions?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very funny. I have, do you know there's a whole society of synagogue presidents out there in the planet, and I think everyone has called me at one point or another. But I actually get, especially from, I get a lot of letters, and I still actually get real letters, but email and all those from Jewish people around the country who are so grateful that I haven't been afraid to say I'm an American woman who is Jewish, and lead with, talk about my faith and my values and those kinds of things. And people have been thankful that I wasn't afraid to do that. I'm not sure, maybe this trained me a little bit. It seems very important. I'm not afraid to do that. It makes me feel strong. And between that and my computer programming background, I figure I've got two ways to argue with people. I can either get them on tech, or I get them with the mitzvot, and I'm good to go,
So
you know.
binary approach then, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, last question, and it'll be somewhat of a downer, but it has to be addressed. You addressed it earlier, Rabbi, the shootings and all of the violence that has gone on. You go back to even our city as well and what happened. What value do you take, Rabbi, to that approach? And you alluded to it earlier, and I would like the Senator to respond to that as well, and then we'll end the conversation.
Well, focus me a little bit. What are you driving at
You were
exactly?
talking about, we've had this increasing violence, and if we go to even October in terms of our own situation in Las Vegas and all of that, you talked about the first responders. Is there a Jewish value that can be expanded to that world to perhaps minimize, or not minimize, but ameliorate some of that thinking and some of that action that causes this violence? And then the part two would be to Senator Rosen, is there that value that you're talking about, could that be applied somewhere on the Hill in terms of legislation?
Well, there's so many. I'm glad you kind of narrowed the question a little bit, because the whole issue of security, of course, is always on our mind, because what happened in Pittsburgh, I have a sister who just moved to Gilroy because it's a sleepy little city, and look what happened in Gilroy. It seems every time we turn on the news that there's another mass shooting, and it's unnerved a lot of people. And it's not just that Jews are being targeted, it just seems like there's a lot more crazy people. So I guess one of the Jewish values is Judaism at its core teaches that we are created in the image of God. And what that means is that when you cease to see the sacred in other people and you dehumanize them, you're no longer killing another human being, you're just killing an it. And to the extent that we dehumanize each other through our language, through our values, through our perceptions of who those people are who are not like us, it creates a society that vilifies others. Instead of celebrating diversity, it vilifies it. Instead of celebrating the immigrant, it makes them the villains who are taking our jobs, who are bad. And the more we do that, the more we create a climate in which hatred is the norm. And so we have to push back. We have to keep up with interfaith. We have to keep speaking out, whether it's from the pulpit or in terms of how we teach our children that every life matters and that we are created in the image of God. And that is, at its core, the first step.
Senator Rosen?
Well, it's a very difficult question. I was at the border a few weeks ago in McAllen, Texas. And I say this, that I came back, I felt very ashamed. I felt ashamed of who we are as Americans, not in the immigration space and in some of the other spaces that we do act without kindness. You can't legislate everything, but you can model behavior. So it's multifactorial, but what we can do, and we can talk about some of the hate, the immigration issues, the shooting. What we have to do is it is easy to try to dehumanize one group, and it's happened to us. And throughout the history of the world, it's happened to groups all around the world. It's been, unfortunately, part of the history of America. But it's easy to point a finger at that one thing. It's hard to talk about some real immigration reform and laws and things that we need to do in good and kind, humane ways that grow our country, protect our borders, and still treat people as individuals. Because who are we really? Maybe not even as Americans, just as human beings. If you all went there, regardless of your political party, your age, your whatever your opinion, and you saw what I saw, and you saw those children laying under Mylar blankets, listless, just looking in the sky, you would have thought, this is not right. What do we need to do? It's only part of the problem, and focusing sometimes on this big issue, it's hot button, it detracts from people doing real work. And then they say we can't talk about anything because it's hard and it's big, but we need to start talking about all kinds of things in this space. And I believe, most of all, we cannot forget our humanity. It was forgotten for us 70 years ago. We must remember those lessons. We stand on all those we say Kaddish for every week, those we don't know, and we have to help lead the fight, because today it's this group, yesterday was us, tomorrow maybe someone else. And that is a lesson we take with us, personally, legislatively, and something we have to fight for even when it's not easy.
Well, it's a good conversation. We'll continue it in the Onik with the root beer.
So I want to just have the last word. This is a project that Ira and I, it's kind of our brainchild, and I want to thank Ira so much for being a part of this. Let's hear it for Ira as our moderator. And, of course, Senator Rosen for being a part of it. This program has evolved, and I'm so proud. The last thing I want to say is, at the beginning, Senator Rosen said, you know, you go to Washington, you can't always change Washington. So my fervent prayer is, don't let Washington change you, Jacky. And I mean that in the most loving sense, because what you bring to Washington, and as a temple president, as a human being, that kindness, that intellect, that never give up, that courageous spirit, we are so proud of you. So don't change. Keep fighting for us. We love you.
I'm too old to change. I just had a birthday, please.
And computer skills, too.
Yeah, and computer skills.
So
Thank you. Let's have some root beer.
Let's all join in our final song. We are going to have. We're going to have
our.
We are going to have a receiving line. We are going to say Kiddush and Motzi So bear with us. Let's all rise. Cantor, our final song is?
In Keloheinu.
All right.
On page 626. Couple of just reminders. There's a lot of good Shabbatot in the next month. You don't want to miss a Friday night. Next week is Tu B'Av, the Shabbat of love, and it's Sisterhood Shabbat, followed by Beetle Shabbat, which is back by popular demand for the 8th time. And then we have Shabbat in the round. And then Joe Buchanan, our Jewish country music star, is coming back for his bar mitzvah. And so he will be our artist in residence on September 6th. So 4 Shabbatot in a row that you don't want to miss. And I think our temple president wants to share with us something special.
I wanted to take the opportunity while we had such a crowd here that, in light of what we're talking here tonight, our Security and Safety Committee is working with the ADL, and we will be hosting with the FBI, led by our Federal Bureau of Investigation, here at Congregation Ner Tamid on Tuesday, August 20th, an active shooting training, whether it be in a mall, in a restaurant nowadays, wherever you go. It's good to have some knowledge and some experience in how to help prevent or to save a life. So we welcome you to join us. We would like to have people register. It'll be on our website, but it's Tuesday, August 20th, 6:15 check-in, 6:30 to 8 o'clock, right here at Congregation. Thank you.
All right, here we go. En Keloheinu 626.